Okay, welcome to Santos Dumont English Assessment. Today is the 16th of October 2019. I am John Wilkinson. Nice to meet you. So first of all, please tell me your full name.
Yes, of course. My full name is Edflar Mendes.
Now please sign here the same way you signed your ID. Thank you. Now may I see your pilot's license and your ID.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you have any electronic devices with you?
No.
Your ID is fine, thank you very much. So what we're going to do now is, if you could just look at the camera please. Thank you. And now we're going to go into aviation topics. Okay, so we're going to start, and in this part you will answer some questions related to aviation. Okay, so first of all, please just tell me about your background in aviation.
I started my aviation career just like most pilots. First, I got my private pilot license flying single-engine aircraft at this small flight school in the countryside of Brazil. And after that, I got my commercial pilot license. Then I was hired by the flight school as a flight instructor. So I gave instructions for some time. When I had enough flight hours, I applied for an airline, and nowadays I fly for a major airline in Brazil as a first officer on the Boeing 737NG. I have been flying this company for a couple of years, and I hope to get promoted to a captain in the near future.
Okay, thank you. Now I'd like you to tell me about your first solo flight.
Well, my first solo flight was, and it is for all pilots, a landmark in our career. Because this is the first time you fly the aircraft solo. So I remember it was in 1991 at flight school in the north of Brazil. Remember, the weather conditions were appropriate. There were no significant clouds. The wind was calm. That's normally the conditions required for you to perform this kind of flight. And I flew a single-engine aircraft, P-56, commonly known in Brazil as Paulichinha. And I remember my instructor told me to perform some maneuvers, including a couple of touch and goes, some steep turns, cross-control stall also. So I performed all maneuvers and I landed the aircraft safely. To be honest, we had been doing a lot of procedures prior to the flight. So my instructor just told me that I would just perform, another flight. It would just be a normal flight, but I would be alone for the first time. And I remember looking over my shoulder and I noticed that the aircraft was a lot lighter. Because up to this point I was only used to flying with the instructor, but everything went well. I was of course thrilled. I was very, very happy, and I had an oil shower to celebrate. It's a memorable day, and I'll never forget it.
Okay, thank you. And in your opinion, what will aviation be like in the future, in the next 10 to 20 years?
I think aviation is a very broad term. And so I will make a couple of observations, okay? First, in terms of airports, I think perhaps there will be better facilities, maybe more connectivity in the airport, and also better passenger mobility. Maybe the airport will be more connected with the city. And in addition, I think that when it comes to aircraft, for example, it is inevitable. Technology will have a very big impact on the way that the pilots manage the flight. So perhaps there will be more automated systems to interact or to perhaps enhance this interaction between the pilots and the aircraft. Furthermore, I think in terms of routes, for example, and then in Brazil to be specific, I think there will be more domestic routes. Maybe demand for air travel will increase, and actually I think the demand for air travel is projected to double over the next few decades. So I think there will be more aircraft, more airports, more routes, and in general, I can only see growth for the future of aviation.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of part 1.